let the movie mayhem begin. This is another volume of the Cinema Chronicles right here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. I'm your host, Brandon Vick. If you don't know, I'm a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association and a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Brandon V. I love Letterboxd at Sir Brandon. What a month. What a month it's been. Two things I want to kind of talk about before we get into the four movies that I'm gonna let you know about. One, we have brought in two fine fellas from 615 Film, Sean Atkins, Kevin Allen. Let me throw in the last name. Really enjoy these guys. I've known them for quite a few years. They are a part of the Southeastern Film Critics Association and the Music City Film Critics Association. Sean has obviously contributed articles for Sobros Network. He's been on podcasts for us. He's also the president of the Music City Film Critics Association. But we kind of came up with this plan, oh my gosh, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something. And so it's kind of taken a little bit of time, but it is all here. It has all come to fruition. And Marge has been the beginning of it all. New team. And I hope all of you have been enjoying it because it's been a loaded Marge. Sean's got a review of the 4K restoration of Excalibur. Kevin has done Dolly and has had reviews of Undertone, and also he kind of redid his best of 2025. Sean, his latest piece is the 4.5 out of 5 star review for Project Hail Mary, and obviously we got more stuff coming as he is. There's the Devil, who? The Devil, Daredevil. Born Again, Reborn, whatever, season 2. Sean's got a review of that up. So anyway, I hope everybody's been enjoying it. We are absolutely happy to have them. We're super excited to kind of combine two Nashville movie hotspots together. So we're really looking forward to what 2026 and beyond will be. And also here, I don't know, 2 weeks ago almost, the Oscars. First, thank you for everybody who tuned in to our watch-along. We had a great time. We missed our buddy Brett. Hopefully he'll be back next year, but Stoney and I did what we could. And we really had a good time on that. And also, I just received a note in my ear. Mars Attacks. We got a podcast about Mars Attacks that also you can check out for Movie Review Rewind. But back to the Oscars, I actually think it was a pretty good night. I think the One Battle After Another won what it should have won. Super pumped for Ryan Coogler, excuse me, for winning his first Oscar. PTA winning his first 3 Oscars. I think it was when he won for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I think they said it was like his 13th or 14th nomination. But he finally won. He went on to win Best Director and also part of Best Picture. Ryan Coogler won Best Original Screenplay. A holler at Michael B. Jordan, who has won Best Actor. Really nice. Happy to see Sean Penn win his 3rd Oscar. He is exceptional talent. I think Colonel Lockjaw is one of the most memorable characters in a very long time, and he joins some pretty elite company winning 3 acting Oscars. I found out some pretty cool stuff about... so obviously when you win an Oscar, it's a big deal. You can start getting different things. You can start demanding different things. So there is a thing going out there now about the new Miami Vice reboot that Joseph Kosinski is directing. He did Top Gun Maverick. And Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler are supposed to be the 2 leading guys. And news was starting to circulate that Tom Cruise was being eyed as the villain for the movie, which I hope happens. But then here, like a week and a half ago, I heard that it might not be a for sure thing because since Michael B. Jordan won the Oscar, he's asking for an $18 million paycheck for Miami Vice. So I'm not sure. Might have to get Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy. Actually, he might not be alive. But you know who could do it? Terrence Howard. And he ain't going to ask for no $18 million. So anyway, just food for thought there. The other cool stuff I wouldn't say cool, but a very memorable moment of the Oscars is In Memoriam. You had Rachel McAdams. You had a lot of people from Rob Reiner's films come out, including with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan and the guys from Spinal Tap, and some from Stand By Me, and then obviously Barbra Streisand's little tribute to Robert Redford. I heard a quote from Jane Fonda, and I don't know. I think I kind of agree, which I don't. I get having Barbra Streisand there is a huge deal, but Barbra Streisand did one movie with Robert Redford. Jane Fonda did 4. So maybe Jane Fonda has a point that maybe she should have been up there, but but then if she sang that song from We Were Young, that would be weird. So I don't know, but happy to see Frankenstein get some love. Sinners get some love. The only thing that I was a little disappointed by is I think we could have given Marty Supreme something. We could have helped them out, right? Something. But anyway, I love the film, and Timothy will get his Oscar. I have no doubts. He might end up becoming one that gets 2 or 3. I'm not sure. And maybe he's too young and dumb. I don't know. I think him winning this year would have been well deserved. But I have no problems with Michael B. Jordan. And honestly, and leading up to it, Michael B. Jordan really did put in 2 great performances in one film. So I mean, you gotta give the guy what he deserves, and he is a movie star. People showed up, and honestly, I mean, since him and Coogler's first collaboration, The Fruitville Station, they've been on a roll. Is it a Scorsese De Niro or Scorsese DiCaprio? I don't know, but they're on their way with Fruitville Station, Black Panther movies, and now Sinners. So we'll see. But yeah, I and Sean has a post out there about the kind of his reaction of it and calling it predictable, and it was. There wasn't a whole lot of surprises, but for this year, I'm actually okay with it because I think I kind of left the watch along feeling like, yeah, you know what, the people that deserved it, the films that deserved it, got it, good for them. So I was happy. I was a happy boy. Let's get into the movies. I got 4 of them for you. The first one is the first film from Rose Byrne, hot off that Oscar nom. Come back and let's talk. The film is called Toe, and per Rotten Tomatoes, it is based on a true story that follows Amanda Ogle, played by Rose Byrne, a woman living in her aging Toyota Camry on the streets of Seattle. When her car, her only lifeline, is stolen and impounded, Amanda is thrust into a relentless legal battle against an indifferent system. What begins as a fight to reclaim her car evolves into a deeply human story of resilience, dignity, and the power of one woman's voice in the face of systematic failure. I think my first question when I was watching this film is a 1991 Toyota Camry really worth all of this? My first car was a 1994 Ford Taurus. It was blue, and it lasted a month. Stoney and I actually were involved in a car accident, and it totaled my car and the other guy's car, who I just happened to actually go to school with. So then I got a burnt orange Dodge Neon, and let me tell you, it was a vagina wagon, is what the kids call it. I also had white dice hanging from my mirror with dollar signs on it, so it's beyond cool. But anywho, we know from the get-go with Toe that it's not just about the car, it's the life that she's lost, and it's the life that she's living, or more like surviving. Fresh off her Oscar nom, Rose Byrne is great in what is an arguably an inspiring true story. Not too many people in Amanda's situation would have had the kind of fight that she has, especially for the long haul. Also in this movie, there is a great ensemble here with Rose. Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers. He is fantastic as playing the sympathetic lawyer, forming a friendship with Amanda that is certainly not easy. But their dynamic, in my opinion, is the best thing in the film. The script that's written by Jonathan Kesey and Brent Boyven, which apparently this is Kesey's second writing credit and Boyven's first writing credit, does sort of neglect its impressive supporting cast, and that includes Ariana DeBose, Demi Lovato, Octavia Spencer, Simon Rex, Elsie Fisher, by providing little development or depth. So with Spencer, I feel like she's underused and comes across as sort of this like preachy principal we had in her high school. She kind of plays the person that's in charge of this women's shelter at a church that ends up letting Amanda in, which is kind of strict with these rules. But again, she kind of has to. It's kind of one note sort of thing. It's like no nonsense kind of character. Lovato plays an expecting mother who has concerns of being a good mother. I think it's pretty cliched, really. I mean, it's not that she does a bad job, but there's nothing new or fresh about this kind of character. And of course, they also let her sing in the movie, which I guess if you have her, you should. I will say, while DeBose's arc isn't anything spectacular, this is kind of the best she's been since her Oscar-winning role in West Side Story. I think I've said this before on one of these Cinema Chronicles, but she's had a rough go with things like House of Spoils. That was a straight-to-Amazon horror movie, if you want to call it that. Argyle, Craven, and Love Hurts. So it's nice at least seeing her doing something better than those movies. At the same time, the deprivations of a woman, and this is dealing with Amanda, who's battling alcoholism and the complexities of motherhood, all while seeking justice, is meaningfully depicted from Stephanie Liang. Some of her directing credits is dealing with a lot of, I think, pretty popular Apple TV shows. Palm Royale, that has Kristen Wiig, that did recently get canceled, and Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm. Good show. You should check it out. However, it still feels rather lighthearted, which I think kind of lessens the emotional impact of Amanda's journey. Additionally, there are a few moving scenes that are significant, but they feel rather hurried along. The big one is when Amanda finally shares in a meeting what happened to her and how she kind of ended up in losing custody of her daughter, that is played by Elsie Fisher, and living in her car in a totally different state. It's done in the blink of an eye, and I feel like that one especially needed time to breathe and have the audience, us, really kind of take it in. And it sort of doesn't. It's almost like I said, it's just kind of cut short in a way, and which I don't know, I found strange. However, I must say it is easy to see that Toe does have the best of intentions. And as a woman who's been knocked down but keeps getting up and pushing on, Byrne does carry the film with the perfect amount of stubbornness, fierceness, and determination. That is undeniably uplifting. Toe is out in theaters now. It gets a VIX Fix rating of 3 out of 5. And coming up next, Frankie's monster wants to get freaky with the dead woman. Come back, I'll tell you. The Bride. Per Rotten Tomatoes, a scientist revives a murdered woman as a companion for a legendary creature. The aftermath defies all expectations. So, defies all expectations, yeah. So what happens next isn't quite what us, the audience, would have imagined. Maggie Gyllenhaal writes and directs a very messy modern monster love story that also is supposed to represent a form of women liberation. The experience is ambitious, imaginative, strange, confusing, fascinating, and so fucking frustrating. As the film begins, the style and confidence from Gyllenhaal is very apparent, and the performances from Bell and Buckley are rather compelling and committed and chaotic. Yet the longer they're together, the more their romance becomes uninspiring. Same thing happens involving the possession of Mary Shelley. It's intriguing at first, but gets obnoxious the longer it goes. For as bold and original as The Bride can, and it inarguably is, it's just as tedious and as hollow, with thinly sliced storytelling that appears to be truly inspired by Bonnie and Clyde and even Joker 2, Folie à Deux, but maybe not in the best ways. From Frankenstein's Monster and The Bride, which Frankenstein's Monster is played by Christian Bale. The Bride is played by Jessie Buckley, who just won for Best Actress for Hamnet. The best ways, but from the monster to the bride to the narrative itself, that does center around themes of love and loneliness, the reclamation of one's body, and the feminist revolution, all of it suffers from not forming a solid connection. There's such a disconnect that starts to happen as the film tries to explore and dissect more and more. Its identity is quite feeble, and the emotional elements feel rather lifeless. There is a real craft to the film in other areas, such as like production design and costumes and makeup. Gyllenhaal has a terrific atmosphere and set pieces with an excellent punk rock look. For example, Buckley's look of the iconic monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, and that noticeable smudge on her face that they like to show and put on the posters. This was per Rotten Tomatoes. There was an interview that they had with Jessie Buckley regarding the smudge, and she describes it as kind of like it's an expression of her character and Mary Shelley that to leave its mark on the world. She kind of goes into where like there's so much to say and it's pouring out of her, and it gave her this kind of disobedience and mischief. And she really unleashes as the bride, but for a character trying to reclaim who she is and what her name is, she can't live without Belle's Frankenstein's monster, which is why the ending of the film makes you sort of go, huh. And what about all those other famous faces in the film? Well, let me tell you. Josh Parham, in his review for Next Best Picture, nailed it. He says, Annette Bening, who plays this kind of mad scientist, exists in an odd no man's land of wanting to play this bombastic mad scientist, but her eccentricities are not played up enough to sell a wild vision that would have been more enjoyable to witness. John Magaro, which he's been in quite a few things, Past Lives, but he's also in this great film called Omaha. Highly recommend it. He plays an old acquaintance of Ida, who is the bride, who's forced to make a moral decision about her disposal. Still, such a wonderfully empathetic actor is put to utter waste in a role with barely any screen time and wooden motivations. The same is true for a pair of detectives following this criminal couple, but good luck being entertained by whatever antics Peter Sarsgaard and Penelope Cruz are given. They simply meander through the story with terrible dialogue and an uninteresting side plot. There's a suggestion of some history between Sarsgaard's character and the bride in a former life. Still, it's not explored nearly enough to justify either of these characters being here, and it only drags out the runtime even more. Jake Gyllenhaal is also featured, but it's basically an extended cameo and feels more like an indulgence from his sister, giving him a small part to play. I did hear a thing, and I think it came from Jake Gyllenhaal, where I think Maggie actually did have other people audition for it, and then she ended up calling her bro and was like, I don't know why we're doing this. I feel like this is perfect for you, and so she ended up giving it to him. So it wasn't as easy for him to get the part as maybe some people would assume. From Maggie Gyllenhaal's rebellious vision to the star-studded cast and the electric aesthetics, The Bride should have stupefied us, and it has its moments where it does just that in exciting ways. But it unfortunately stupefies in disappointing ways even more. To be bold is one thing, but to be boring too is a tragedy. The Bride isn't quite alive. I'll be honest, that sounded more of like a country song than it did from Frankenstein's movies. But anyway, isn't quite as alive as it should be. The Bride gets a VixFlix rating of 2.5 out of 5. And coming up next, Pixar is back with some beavers. Next. Pixar's Hoppers is what I'm talking about. I look back at kind of just starting with 2020 because Pixar obviously is and in some ways still this animation juggernaut, but I think DreamWorks and Sony Pictures Animation, obviously there's been a lot of competition that has started to rise up, and maybe Pixar isn't quite what it used to be. But I look back from starting with 2020, it was Onward, which that was right before kind of COVID hit, which is pretty good. Chris Pratt, Tom Holland voices some, it's got magical stuff in there. Luca and Soul were Disney Plus releases, which I like Luca. I'm a big fan of Soul. I really enjoyed that one. Lightyear was in 2022. I actually thought it was a fantastic Pixar movie, but didn't get a lot of love. And then Turning Red, which ended up being released on Disney Plus, which some have argued, and I think I would kind of agree with them, that I think this kind of habit of releasing some Pixar stuff on Disney Plus kind of dampened the product. I like Turning Red. I like Lightyear better, and Soul I would say would be my two favorites. Elemental I thought was great, which was really noted for kind of their creative visuals. And then, of course, Inside Out 2, which ended up being a huge success, made over $1 billion. And now we have Hoppers, which Hoppers comes out along with later on this summer Toy Story 5. So we'll see how it all kind of plays out. But as far as Hoppers, Rotten Tomatoes says, what if you could talk to animals and understand what they're saying? In Disney and Pixar's all-new feature film Hoppers, scientists have discovered how to hop human consciousness into lifelike robotic animals, allowing people to communicate with animals as animals. The adventure introduces Mabel, an animal lover who seizes an opportunity to use the technology, uncovering mysteries within the animal world that are beyond anything she could have imagined. I think by now we know kind of how Pixar rolls when it comes to animation and the emotional elements in their stories, and Hoppers is absolutely wonderful in both of these areas. But at the same time, this is probably their most deranged, absurd, darkest, and funniest film to date. And I think it can be associated with writer-director Daniel Chong, who does come from Cartoon Network. That place can be pretty wacky, and Pixar, in my opinion, needed a dose of it. Hoppers is a sci-fi adventure that serves as a beautiful celebration of our connection to nature, environmental preservation, feeling alone and trying to make a difference, no matter how big or small, and what can be accomplished when unified. The voice cast is stellar, with Piper Curda as Mabel, Bobby Moynihan as King George, John Hamm as Mayor Jerry, and Dave Franco as Insect King. By the way, don't let the name fool you. He can get nuts. Mabel's environmental activist energy is terrific, as is her more moving moments that get you caught up in the feels. Moynihan is fantastic as a beaver with a crown and an outlook on life that we probably all wish we had. There's a sense of knowing there's good in everybody somewhere, and having total tolerance that the world needs more of, for sure. George and Mabel's friendship is very endearing to watch. Ham is also great and knows how to get the laughs. He's a perfect fit for Hoppers. This is, like I said, Hoppers is the kind of first of two Pixar films this year. Now, Toy Story 5 comes out in June. Still looks great. I think Toy Story is kind of peak Pixar. I mean, honestly, you put all of them together along with what I would say probably Up. And, I mean, that's some masterclass filmmaking, animation or not. But obviously, Toy Story 5 is certainly the biggest of the two. I really hope Hoppers doesn't get forgotten like The Good Dinosaur, one of Pixar's most underrated films did when Inside Out, the first one, came out in that same year. Hoppers is smart. It's adorable with plenty of heart and humor and is happy to get a little creepy. It isn't quite what you would expect from Pixar, but the studio, I believe, needed to change it up and feel fresh again. And it does. And Hoppers is wild and a lot of damn DAM fun. Hoppers gets a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And coming up next, Ready or Not, things are gonna get crazy next. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Every time I say that title, I think, and I don't even know what song it is, but it says, Ready or Not, Here I Come. Sounds just like that. Anyway, per Rotten Tomatoes, moments after surviving an all-out attack from the Ladomus family, Grace, played by Samara Weaving, discovers she's reached the next level of the nightmarish game, and this time with her estranged sister Faith, played by Catherine Newton, at her side. Grace has one chance to survive, keep her sister alive, and claim the high seat of the council that controls the world. 4 rival families are hunting her for the throne, and whoever wins rules it all. Radio Silence, that is the dynamic duo of Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette, returns to go bigger with the cast and bloodier with the violence while boosting the lore in their sadistic sequel that has its fair share of fun, though not nearly as inventive or as thrilling as the first. The plot I found very thin and tepid. It's repetitive, and I also think it kind of needs to go back like the original. It needs a shorter runtime. 90 minutes or so, to me, is perfect for a genre piece like this. And strangely, this movie goes in a somewhat different direction than the original when it comes to the savage characterization of the ultra-rich. The approach this time around is quite trivial, which I found pretty disappointing. Samara Weaving, listen, look, whatever else, is still a badass. And Catherine Newton from Freaky and Abigail is a great addition. And again, she actually worked with these directors, Radio Silence and Abigail. And on paper and on screen, they appear to be a deadly dynamic duo. However, their characters being sisters just never feels legit. This is a review from Screen Daily by Robert Daniels called Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Samara Weaving returns in bloody, bland horror sequel. He states, while Here I Come isn't lacking for action, including big bazookas, long sabers, and a gruesome kill involving an industrial washing machine, the sisterly dynamic is duller than a blunt knife. A committed Weaving and a passionate Newton simply don't give off enough sibling energy. Since Grace and Faith haven't spoken for nearly a decade, part of that detachment is intentional, but their conversations are also one note. There's no mention of childhood memories, former friends, or any detail that would allow one to believe they've even met before. The stronger sibling bond is instead shared by Ursula, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Titus, played by Sean Hattasey, whose toxic relationship, powered by Gellar's complex intensity, can be felt in their animalistic bickering. I will say, for one, I did enjoy Gellar and Hattasey, as well as Elijah Wood, and a fantastic cameo from the legendary David Cronenberg. Radio Silence and crew, they don't hold back, and I have no doubt that fans of the first will probably be entertained by this. Yet, I do think Ready or Not 2, Here I Come is still proof that very rarely can the sequel live up to the original. No matter how batshit crazy and gory this one wants to get, it just can't surpass the demented delight that we experienced when Grace said I do for the very first time. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come is getting a VixFlix rating of 2.5 out of 5. And that wraps up this volume of the Cinema Chronicles right here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. Again, I am Brandon Vick. You can follow me at Sir Brandon V on Twitter, Sir Brandon on Letterboxd, and be sure to catch all of our work on NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com. Again, we're adding to the team. It's been a great March. Really looking forward to what happens from here. And obviously, until next month, just go see a damn movie. Oh